chilling 911 call from Laura Doerman, the mother of Clayton, Hunter, and Chase Doerman, who desperately tried to save her little boys from their father in June of 2023.
And to emphasize the great sorrow we have for this family and how this was something out of the blue. This was lightning from a blue sky.
The prosecutor laying out the investigation and trying to answer the question, was Chad Doerman actually suffering from mental illness when he murdered his little boys? I'm Angenette Levy. Welcome to Crime Fix. The prosecution team in Chad Doerman's case is revealing new information about the investigation into the murders of those precious little boys, Clayton, Hunter, and Chase Doerman. I'll outline that new information from the prosecutor shortly. But first, Doerman's guilty plea to the premeditated murders of his three young sons, 7-year-old Clayton, 4-year-old Hunter, and 3-year-old Chase, on June 15, 2023, came just last week. That guilty plea coming just days before a hearing was scheduled to take place that would determine whether or not Chad Doerman was actually suffering from a serious mental illness that would have barred prosecutors from pursuing the death penalty at trial. That hearing on whether Doerman was suffering from a serious mental illness was canceled after a plea agreement was reached behind the scenes.
As to count one, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Count two, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Count three, aggravated murder in violation of 290301A, an unclassified felony. How do you plead?
Guilty.
This case, of course, all started on that beautiful summer day in 2023. It was June 15th when Chad Doerman returned home early from work and was acting oddly. Court documents claim that Doerman grabbed a Bible and walked around his house mumbling, "Chad knows what's right." His wife Laura told detectives that Doerman tried to get into the gun safe in their master bedroom, and she told him that he was scaring her and that she didn't like what he was doing and she was going to call his parents, to which he responded that he was just kidding and playing around. Laura didn't want Chad to be alone, so the prosecutor said she and the three boys laid down with Chad for a nap.
All three of the boys joined him in the master bedroom for a nap. At some point after lying down with the four of them, the defendant got out of bed, opened a gun safe that was next to the bed, removed a Marlin Model HC-22 rifle from the gun safe and loaded the magazine. The defendant shot his son Hunter Doerman twice while in the bedroom. His wife Laura began to render aid to Hunter and yelled for the other children to run. Laura's 14-year-old daughter, Alexis, who had been watching television in the family room, made her way to the master bedroom and witnessed the killing of Hunter. Alexis immediately began to run and indicated that Chase had fled out the back door.
Chad Doerman hunted down Clayton and shot him, and then chased after Alexis, who was holding little Chase in an effort to protect him. Laura Doerman tried to protect Chase too, even suffering a gunshot wound to her own hand as she put her thumb over the barrel of the gun. But Doerman shot his youngest son anyway.
Stand the f*** up!
Deputies arrived and took Doerman into custody. He didn't resist.
He took my life from me! My life! What are you doing, man?
Hey, are you copying all this?
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
You got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing. Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him.
All right.
He won't bite you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm gonna
I
get
ain't
you
gonna
here
do
in a
nothing. I ain't
second.
running away. You can do whatever you want with me.
Now the prosecution team is revealing more information about what was going on in the lead up to the unthinkable murders of Clayton, Hunter, and Chase, three innocent little boys who should still be here. The murders of Clayton, Hunter, and Chase Doerman, it's one of the saddest cases that I've ever covered, but it's an important case for many reasons, and we want to tell this story in a way that honors their memories. We're able to do that because of sponsors of Crime Fix like Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan is a law firm that can help you if you're ever injured. The firm has more than 1,000 attorneys you may want in your corner because they are America's largest injury law firm, and with good reason, they win a lot. Morgan & Morgan has secured several multi-million-dollar verdicts and settlements recently for victims who were in life-altering car crashes, all of which were considerably higher than the highest insurance company offer. Starting a claim takes just 8 clicks or less, and it can all be done using just your smartphone. And there are no upfront fees. You only pay Morgan & Morgan if you win. So if you are injured, you can easily start a claim in 8 clicks or less at forthepeople.com/crimefix. Clermont County Prosecutor Mark Tacalvi outlined what happened in the days leading up to June 15th. He said the Saturday before, on June 10th, Chad Doerman told his wife Laura to take her 14-year-old daughter out shopping so they could spend some time together. Chad Doerman took Clayton, Hunter, and Chase to a dirt track. Photos from that day remain posted on his Facebook page. The next day, that Sunday, he took the boys fishing. There had not been any reports of domestic violence between the couple, and for all intents and purposes, prosecutors say they were happy. Chad worked for the Insulators Union, and Laura was a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling Clayton and taking care of Hunter and Chase. That week, on Monday and Tuesday, Chad Doerman went to work, and his coworkers didn't note any odd behavior from him. Tacalvi said there were conflicting statements by Doerman about whether he was having trouble sleeping or not in those days.
Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. The defendant wakes his stepdaughter up before he leaves for work, which is a highly unusual thing to do. He typically left for work at 4 or 5 in the morning. He wakes her up and tells her and apologizes for whatever I have done to you and for anything I've ever done to hurt you. Again, unusual, but will become meaningful in context as we know how the events unfolded later. Go ahead, please. Again, he's at work, and these co-workers, bosses, were all interviewed extensively by law enforcement, by the members of the Clermont County Sheriff's Office, and they report nothing was observed unusual about Doerman on that day. Just normal work day, normal behavior. The night before, Chad Doerman murdered his children, June 14th, 2023. It was normal. He went as he did and coached his boys, or actually Coach Clayton. He coached third base that evening. The entire family went to the ball game. There were no indicators that anything this horrible was about to occur. Later, some folks did notice that perhaps while coaching third base, he seemed a little distracted, but nothing concrete, nothing you could latch onto to gauge in any fashion what was about to occur.
Then came the morning of the murders, June 15th. Tacalvi said Chad Doerman got up to go to work and searched for the song Happy in Hell by Colt Ford on YouTube. Some of the lyrics of those songs say, "Between happy and hell, that's where I'm living now. I really want to love her, but I just don't think that I know how. Can't give her everything she needs. Can I give her everything I want? Will it be about what I do? Will it be about what I don't? Will it be about what is right? Forget about what is wrong. Will she love the man I am or the man that sings this damn song? Don't know if I'll ever know the truth. It might not ever show. But if I never tell the truth, then she will never know. Am I her shining light or just her darkest day? I wonder if she'll leave. Hell, I wonder if she'll stay. Oh God, I'm so confused. Is it a lie or truth?" Chad Doerman left work at 9:30 a.m. Tacalvi says he told his mom he was having some confusing thoughts. She told him to go to the little clinic. Surveillance video shows Doerman walking into Kroger and going to the supplement aisle and looking at the shelves. He then goes to the little clinic counter. He's there for 90 seconds, and then he leaves before anyone ever helps him.
On the way home, he stops, buys a 16-ounce Bud Light, goes out to the shed behind the house. The family then arrives from running some errands, and the boys, happy to see their father, run to say hello to him. Just a normal afternoon or a normal morning, other than he came home a little bit early that day. He plays with the boys while Laura makes lunch. While eating lunch, oddly, the defendant says to Laura that this will be my last good meal. Having no information, no idea what Chad was contemplating, Laura begins to worry that this is a statement that he may be contemplating suicide. Shortly before he kills his kids, Doerman calls his father and makes the statement that Clayton is going to be the hardest one.
Tecalvi said that Doerman did some yard work and then played with his sons throughout the afternoon.
3:30 to 3:45, he begins to read the Bible to Hunter. He's walking around the house with the Bible mumbling, "Chad knows what's right, Chad knows what's right." Shortly before 4 p.m., he gets into the gun safe, leaving it unlocked. Laura says, "You are scaring me." Again, highly unusual behavior. And Chad says, "I'm just playing around." Our position is he did this to, again, allay any fears or concerns that may build up in her about her safety, his safety, or the safety of the boys or Alexis. So he actively deceived her. 4 p.m. He's telling Clayton, Hunter, and Chase that he loves them and they did nothing wrong, and that they are the best boys ever, knowing he's about to kill them.
After this, Chad Doerman and his wife and the 3 boys go into the bedroom with him because Laura is concerned. That is when Chad Doerman jumped up and grabbed the rifle from the gun safe.
And suddenly, after lying down, the defendant jumps up, grabs the 22 rifle from the safe, and terror fills the room. As Laura is screaming, the boys are screaming, Laura is frightened that he's about to kill himself. They're all trying to encourage him, telling him that they love him and beg him not to kill himself. Laura takes the phone out to call 911 to get some help there for Chad, who she believes is about to kill himself. He grabs her phone, throws it across the room, and tells her it's too late. He's not going to kill himself. It is too late to save those boys. And then what I can only imagine, well, I can't imagine, takes the rifle, points it at Hunter, and shoots him multiple times. Laura sees this, Alexis sees this, Clayton sees this, Chase sees this. Laura screams to the other children to run, while she tries to render aid, and eventually does call 911 after Hunter has been shot. Hunter was shot in the right arm, right torso, stomach area, and twice in the right side of his head.
Laura Doerman calls 911. There are actually 2 separate calls, but I'm only going to play a brief moment from one of them because it's absolutely awful. She's desperately trying to save her boys as Chad yells, "Move," in the background.
It hurts! It hurts, Daddy! It hurts! My baby!
What is happening?
Hey, come on, run! Run!
Hunter was removed from the house by Laura. She tried to save his life. When you hear Laura tell him to run, Clayton runs out the back door. The defendant gives chase to Clayton. Alexis runs after the defendant in an effort to save Clayton. The unspeakable bravery of that, I cannot comprehend. But that's what this little girl did. While she's running to try to save Clayton, she observes the defendant raise his rifle, fire several shots, striking Clayton from some 50 or 70 yards distance. Clayton's down, and the defendant walks up to him calmly and executes him with 2 bullets to the head. So after Alexis sees this, she knows that Chase is still running around crying. She hears him. She runs back into the house to grab Chase. She grabs him, flees the residence, and begins to run across the yard out towards the street with the intent to go to the firehouse, which is, in close proximity to protect him.
That was Chase's older sister, Alexis, saying, "Please don't shoot me," on a neighbor's security system. 3-year-old Chase tried to hide from his father.
He runs to the trash cans in the driveway and attempts to hide from the defendant, 3-year-old boy, hiding from his father. Alexis runs to get help. At some point, the defendant points the gun at Chase's head and fires it, but the magazine is empty, so it's just a click, as I said the other day in court. And at some point, he reloads. Laura, protecting Chase, is physically fighting with the defendant. As I said, and as you're aware, the defendant bit Laura. In a desperate attempt to save Chase, she places her thumb over the barrel of the rifle and took that projectile in an effort to save Chase. But unfortunately, the defendant was not to be deterred. He prevailed in the struggle, had control of the weapon, and executed Chase in front of Laura.
Tecalvi described how Doerman laid Clayton and Chase's bodies next to Hunter's in the yard as their mother tried desperately to save Hunter. Doerman is then taken into custody, and he acts as if nothing has happened.
He took my life from me! My life!
What are you doing, man?
Hey, are you copying all this?
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
You got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing. Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him.
All right.
He won't bite you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm gonna
I
get
ain't
you
gonna
here
do
in a
nothing. I ain't
second.
running away. You can do whatever you want with me.
Tecalvi then said that Doerman made statements while in cuffs admitting to the shooting.
Tell them I did it, take me to jail.
And there were other things that Doerman also said that made prosecutors believe that Doerman was fully aware of what he had done and that it was wrong.
Among these statements, the defendant made to the detectives, Detective Mike Ross and Mike Green, that because Laura tried to stop him from murdering these boys, that he should have killed her first.
You remember your wife trying to stop you from shooting you? Yeah.
Prosecutors say this is important because Doerman would later claim he was not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect. But prosecutors say Doerman has never been diagnosed with mental health problems in the past.
One of the things that all of the experts considered here is that prior to June 15th of 2023, the defendant was never diagnosed, treated, or prescribed any medication for any mental health condition. The expert hired by defense counsel in this case was Dr. Robert Stenson. The court's expert as to the question of not guilty by reason of insanity, again commonly referred to as NGRI, was Dr. Emily Davis. Despite the defense's contention, the experts did not agree on whether or not the criteria of NGRI, that the defendant met the criteria for NGRI. Both doctors, both Dr. Davis and Dr. Stenson, indicated that it was likely at the time of the offenses the defendant did suffer from a mood disorder. Could have been depression, could have been anxiety, could have been anything or nothing. They really weren't sure. But where the two experts differed was that Dr. Davis opined that the defendant did not meet the criteria for NGRI because he did know the wrongfulness of his actions. Dr. Davis specifically opined that with all of the information considered and reviewed, it was her opinion that despite the defendant experienced some symptoms of severe mental disease, that it was her opinion that he continued to know the wrongfulness of his behaviors in the offenses charged. Although some collateral records suggest a delusional thought process that served as motivation, such as when the defendant claimed he believed he was in hell at the time, there are also behaviors demonstrated by the defendant and commentary that he makes around the time of the offenses, which indicated he continued to know the wrongfulness of his actions.
In fact, prosecutors believe that Doerman concocted that he was suffering from delusions during his interview with detectives.
But if it's big and fresh, then, you know what I mean? He said in New Zealand. That's f***ing awful. Hey, they thought Hitler was big, dude. Yeah, I'm matching him.
And prosecutors say they still don't know and may never know why Chad Doerman did this. Doerman's lawyers had said that he was delusional and in psychosis when he killed the boys.
With acknowledgement of the pain and the suffering and the fact that these 3 beautiful boys are gone, Chad would never have done that, except that he was delusional. He was in psychosis when this happened. All 3 psychologists basically acknowledged that. Dr. Dreyer acknowledged it. They don't agree on whether it qualifies as long enough for serious mental illness or whether he had some appreciation of the legal wrongfulness of what he did. But the fact is, he loved those boys more than anything. And he was ill. He was sick, profoundly sick at the time. There's nothing more he can say at this point except that he's sorry about that. He did it. He acknowledges that. He's taking responsibility for it. He can't bring those boys back to do anything to do it. I think he would wish that he stayed at the little clinic for a little longer than he did. I think he wished that, in hindsight, he signs there before this happened. Tried to power through it. He wouldn't do that again. And until it was too late, he couldn't. He was out of control.
Anything further on that?
No.
Mr. Doerman, is there anything you want to say on your own behalf before I impose sentence? No?
The loss of Clayton, Hunter, and Chase is a tragedy that is so horrific, it's hard to find the words to describe it. Losing the boys has shattered the lives of their family members who love them so dearly, including their older half-sister, Alexis Skeen, who tried so valiantly and heroically at age 14 to save her brothers. She stared at Chad Doerman as prosecutor Laura Barron Allen read her victim impact statement.
I am the person who I am today because of you. And no matter what anyone says, you raised me well, and you gave me an amazing life, and I will forever be grateful for the memories and time you spent with me. Ever since what you've done, my life has been something I would never wish upon any family. It is the most heartbreaking and emotional thing anyone could go through. Chad, I miss you, and I miss the boys dearly, and nothing will ever be the same again because of you. Whenever something exciting happens, I always just want to tell you, because I know you would be so proud of me. Softball to me isn't the same anymore, because that was our sport, and that was the boys' sport. You made me an amazing ball player, and whenever I play softball, there isn't one game where I don't think about you. And whenever I get a good hit or I learn a new pitch, I always wish I could tell you, because I know you would be so proud of me. And when good things like that happen, it sucks to look on the sideline and not see you be there, and for the boys not to be cheering me on like they always did. And Chad, I still work very hard on my grades, and I was on the honor roll this past year. And I know for a fact, if you were there to see it, you would be so happy for me, because my grades have always been so important to me. Another thing that has impacted me was every single holiday. Waking up on Christmas isn't the same anymore. I don't get excited. I don't even look forward to having presents because it's not the same. I don't get to wake up early and wake the boys up. I don't get to hide the elf. I don't get to do any of the fun stuff anymore because they're gone and you took their lives. And Chad, when you go to bed every single night, I want you to know that when you took those 3 boys' lives away, you took mine and you took my mom's. Chad, I don't think you understand how hard it is to wake up every day and to see my friends and people around me have siblings, and to hear them talk about what they did with their siblings that day, or how much they enjoy having a brother. Because deep down, that hurts me so badly and so emotionally, because it hurts to know I will never get to experience another day with my 3 brothers, or to make any memories anymore, because their innocent lives were taken away so quickly and horribly by their own father. Their father who they loved unconditionally and who they trusted more than anything.
You probably noticed that Alexis said that Chad Doerman was a good dad. She appears wise beyond her years and even offered grace to him.
It is so painful to see you here and in jail for the rest of your life, because I have never thought in a million years you would do this to your own children and family. And still to this day, it doesn't feel real to me that they are gone and I will never get them back. But Chad, if I'm being honest, I don't think I will ever be able to hate you. Even in 30 years from now, I will not hate you. Because yes, you did something so horrific and traumatic to those boys. But I will forever hold on to the memories I had with you and the boys, because those are all happy memories. And those were the best times. And you gave me an amazing life, and you were the best dad I could have ever asked for. I could write to you for days, but to end this off, always remember, I will never in a million years ever forgive you for what you have done, and hope you pay for your actions like you deserve. But I will never hate you.
Laura Doerman, who divorced Chad Doerman after he murdered their sons, spoke of the heartbreak and the betrayal that she feels.
My life was ripped away from me and destroyed. Since that day, I have spent every day grieving the loss of my 3 sweet, so very little sons. I grieve the loss of Clayton, Hunter, and Chase every single day, and I grieve the life that they did not get to live. I no longer get to raise them and watch them grow. I miss each one of them so very much. I miss their laughter, silliness, love, and joy for life. Where there used to be so much laughter, happiness, noise of rowdy little boys, there is now silence and emptiness. I would do anything to push them on the swing, cover them up one more time, and hear their little ways of saying, I love you. All of it gone, when I should have had so much more life left to live with them. I asked myself how a mother is supposed to carry on a life as a mom with 1 child left here on earth and 3 gone forever. I struggle every day with the will to get up or give up. Life for me is the true pain and suffering. I will never agree to think that any form of punishment could amount to the form of torture and suffering I have to endure each day. Such as seeing children and seeing siblings together as I watch Alexis be without her brothers, and seeing families together as I no longer have mine. Having to live a life where I'm visiting the same places I once was with Clayton, Hunter, and Chase all together. Traveling in the car and no longer seeing them in the rearview mirror. This also includes our family home that holds so many memories that I cannot let go of. But now it's just a devastating to face. Again, so empty and quiet. I was injured that day, fighting with every ounce of my body to just make it stop. I struggle every day, knowing I was not successful in doing so.
Laura Doerman's statement talked about how she replays that day in her mind over and over, second-guessing every move that she made that day.
My life was ripped away from me and destroyed. Since that day, I have spent every day grieving the loss of my 3 sweet, so very little sons. I grieve the loss of Clayton, Hunter, and Chase every single day, and I grieve the life that they did not get to live. I no longer get to raise them and watch them grow. I miss each one of them so very much. I miss their laughter, silliness, love, and joy for life. Where there used to be so much laughter, happiness, noise of rowdy little boys, there is now silence and emptiness. I would do anything to push them on the swing, cover them up one more time, and hear their little ways of saying, "I love you." All of it gone when I should have had so much more life left to live with them. I asked myself how a mother is supposed to carry on a life as a mom with 1 child left here on earth and 3 gone forever. I struggle every day with the will to get up or give up. Life for me is the true pain and suffering. I will never agree to think that any form of punishment could amount to the form of torture and suffering I have to endure each day, such as seeing children and seeing siblings together as I watch Alexis be without her brothers, and seeing families together as I no longer have mine. Having to live a life where I'm visiting the same places I once was with Clayton, Hunter, and Chase all together. Traveling in the car and no longer seeing them in the rearview mirror. This also includes our family home that holds so many memories that I cannot let go of. But now it's just a devastating to face. Again, so empty and quiet. I was injured that day, fighting with every ounce of my body to just make it stop. I struggle every day, knowing I was not successful in doing so.
Following the sentencing of Chad Doerman to life in prison without the possibility of parole, Laura Doerman issued a statement asking that people remember her boys for who they were before June 15th of 2023. She wrote, "Remember them as 3 little boys who loved fishing, go-karting, and swimming. Remember them as the boys who were always at the baseball fields or running around outside. Remember them as the boys who loved to have fun and were inseparable from one another. Their lives are not about what happened to them. They are so much more than that." She ended it by saying, "I love you, Clayton, Hunter, and Chase." The boys' obituary offered a few more details about them. Clayton was known as Clayton Man and loved making Lego creations, telling jokes and riding his go-kart, and laughing while loving his best dog pal, Gatlin. The family called Hunter Hunter Dog. The 4-year-old loved going to the creek and catching frogs and playing baseball, and called his mom and sister pretty girls. And Chase, the baby of the family, they called him Chasers. He loved swinging on swings and wanted to be a baseball player just like his big brothers. He loved playing with dinosaurs and pretending to be a superhero. And they said he was the best cuddler and will be forever known as Mama's baby. And that's it for this incredibly sad edition of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.